Hey, Sports World, this is another episode of Sports with Psycho Sam, and today we're going to get into NFL Week 5, my predictions and my scores, and then we're going to talk a little bit about college football, and then you have UFC 229, Conor McGregor versus Kabhi. All right, so we're going to get right into it. Tomorrow's game, we have the Colts versus the Patriots. I got the Patriots winning that one 35-24. I think the Patriots are going to get back on track here, and they're going to start to get to rolling. About this time every year, they start to really getting things together. They should get a few key guys back, and I think Julian Edelman is actually back. And then you got Josh Gordon, who should look better another week in that system. Then we have the Broncos versus the Jets. This is a must-win right here because the Broncos, they're going to be going against a few good teams coming up. You have the Week 6 versus the Rams, Week 7 at the Cardinals. And then we have the Chiefs again, Week 8. Then we have the Texans, Week 9, and our bye week is Week 10. So this is a must-win right here to get back on track. I believe the Broncos are going to win this one 28-17. They looked pretty good for 3.5 quarters against the Chiefs on Monday night, and then the coaching just dropped the ball. How do you not play zone coverage on 2nd and 30? Like, that just baffles me. But anywho, we'll get into that a little bit later. We have the Titans versus the Bills. I have the Titans winning that 23-20. You have the Giants versus the Panthers. I have the Panthers winning 35-23. I just think the Panthers are going to be too much for the Giants right there. Then you have the Dolphins versus the Bangles. I think the Dolphins are going to win that 24-21. The Dolphins look pretty good this year. I really like Xavier Howard at cornerback. He looks really good. I think the Bengals are going to start to lose now. Tyler Eifert went down. That's a big target for them. And then you have the Ravens versus the Browns. I have the Ravens winning that 27-23. The Ravens actually look pretty good this year. Their defense is rolling, and their offense is pretty good as well. So yeah, I have them winning that one. Yeah, the Packers versus the Lions. I actually have the Lions winning that one 29-24. I think it's going to be a really good game. I think it's going to be a good rivalry matchup right there. They always play hard against each other. And I think Matthew Stafford is going to come to play this game, and I think they'll get it done on defense as well. You have the Jags versus the Chiefs. I have the Jags winning that one 24-17. The Chiefs haven't really seen any defense this year, and so I think the Jags are going to hit them in the mouth. They got two good linebackers there in Miles Jack and Telvin Smith, who can cover all over the field. Then you got Jalen Ramsey and A.J. Boye on the outside. They're going to be hitting them wide receivers, playing bump and run. Then you got Calais Campbell and Ngakoue on the line. And then you got Malik Jackson as well on the line. They're just a pretty stout defense there. And they do an okay job on offense. So I think they're going to win 24-17. Falcons versus the Steelers. I have the Falcons winning 35-31. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I don't really see any defense going on here. Sorry. But yeah, I have the Falcons coming out with the slight edge. I just don't really like the Steelers this year. I thought they would have been a lot better, but they've been disappointing. You have the Raiders versus the Chargers. I have the Chargers winning that one 42-37. Neither team right here has any defense, so I think it's just going to be who's going to be the better quarterback, and I think Phillip Rivers at this point in time is the better quarterback. So I see them winning 42-37. You have the Vikings versus the Eagles. I have the Vikings getting back on track right here, 24-20. The Eagles are not as good as everybody thought they were going to be coming off that Super Bowl. They just don't look the same. Then you have the Cardinals versus the 49ers. I have the Cardinals getting their first win, 27-23. The 49ers don't look like the same team without Jimmy Garoppolo. So I think the Cardinals are going to get their first win right here. Then you have the Rams versus the Seahawks. I have the Rams winning that 35-17. The Rams are one of the better teams in the NFL this year. They got a good ground game. They got a bunch of wide receivers, and Jared Goff is just slinging the ball everywhere, and that offensive line gives them time to do that. They got some hogs up there up front. And then that defense isn't too bad either with Ndamukong Suh and Aaron Donald in the middle at defensive tackle. And you got Michael Brockers on the outside. And then you got a bunch of cornerbacks, Marcus Peters. Aqib Talib is out right now. LaMarcus Joyner at safety. And Jones at the other safety. They look pretty good. So I think they're going to be in the playoffs easily, number 1 or number 2 seed. And then you have the Cowboys versus the Texans. I have the Texans winning that one in a close one, 27-24. I think Deshaun Watson's going to pull it out over Dak Prescott. So I see that happening. You have the Redskins versus the Saints. Monday Night Football. I have the Saints winning that 34-28. I think Drew Brees and the Saints offense is just too strong for the Redskins defense, and that's why I have them winning. The bye weeks, so you have the Bears and the Bucks that have a bye this week, so you won't see them in action. Alrighty. So then we also got the top 25 NCAA. Notre Dame had a really good game against Stanford, so they moved up to number 6. By the way, Notre Dame is my favorite college football team, if you haven't guessed that yet. So we have number 1, Alabama versus Arkansas. I have Alabama winning that one. You have number 19, Texas versus number 7, Oklahoma. This should be a really good game right here, but I got Oklahoma edging that one out. You have Kansas versus number 9, West Virginia. I'm going with West Virginia in that one. You have Maryland versus number 15, Michigan. I'm going with Michigan in that one. You have Northwestern versus number 20, Michigan State. I'm going with Michigan State right there. Then you have Boston College versus North Carolina State, number 23. I have North Carolina State winning that one. You have number 4, Clemson versus Wake Forest. I have Clemson taking that one. Then you have number 5, LSU versus number 22, Florida. And right here, I have Florida winning at home. I believe this is going to be an upset this week. And I see LSU falling in that one. Florida State versus number 17, Miami. I have Miami winning right here. Then you got Iowa State versus number 25, Oklahoma State. I have Oklahoma State winning that one. Then you have Indiana versus number 3, Ohio State. Ohio State definitely going to run away with that one. Then you have Arizona State versus number 21, Colorado. I have Colorado winning right here. Go Buffaloes. Then you have SMU versus number 12, UCF. I have UCF winning this one. Then you got number 13, Kentucky versus Texas A&M. What a surprise, Kentucky this year. They're not usually known for their football, college football, but they're usually known for basketball. But this year they've been really good. I have Kentucky winning that one. Then you got Vanderbilt versus number 2, Georgia. I got Georgia winning that one. Number 8, Auburn versus Mississippi State. I think Auburn is going to go ahead and drop this one to Mississippi State. I see Mississippi State winning here in an upset. Number 10, Washington versus UCLA. I want to say UCLA in an upset to get their first victory this year, but they look pretty bad, so I'm not too sure. I'm going to go ahead and say UCLA on that one. Nebraska versus number 16, Wisconsin. I got Wisconsin winning that one. Then you have number 6, Notre Dame versus number 24, Virginia Tech. This should be a very good game. This is my game of the week. I have Notre Dame winning by a couple right here, by a field goal at least. And then you have Utah versus number 14, Stanford. I think that Stanford's going to take that easily. All right. Getting right into UFC 229, you have Kabhi versus Conor McGregor. I see this going either one or two ways. Either Conor's going to knock him out, or Khabib's going to take him down, and that's all she wrote. Like, I don't see it going any other way. If it stays up on the feet, Conor's definitely going to knock him out, and if Khabib gets him down, it's over. Khabib is a mauler, man. When he gets you down, you stay down. There's not much you can really do. That wrestling game is shored up. Conor McGregor, man, he's good standing up. That's his game. He's got a deadly left hand. So, my prediction, though, if I had to pick one, I would say McGregor by knockout in the second round. Then you have Tony Ferguson versus Anthony Pettis. I have Tony Ferguson winning this one by submission. Tony Ferguson's good all-around game. I just don't think Anthony Pettis is the same as the Showtime Pettis that we've seen long ago. And then you have OSP versus Dominic Reyes. I don't really know much about Dominic Reyes, but I know OSP is a bruiser who gets in there and bangs it out. But I'm going to go with Dominic Reyes to keep it undefeated. He's 9-0 right now. Hopefully he'll be 10-0. Then you got the Black Beast, Derrick Lewis versus Alexander Volkov. I think Lewis will step his game up in this one and be more active. And I think he'll win by knockout in the third. And then you have Michelle Waterson versus Felice Herrig. The karate hottie, Michelle Waterson. At least that's what they call her. And then I think she's going to win that by submission right there. I don't really know too much about Felice Herrig. I don't really watch her too much. Then you have Sergio Pettis versus Jussier Formiga. I think Pettis is going to win that. And then there's a couple other fights on the prelims, but that was one of the most notable ones on the prelims right there. Showtime's brother, Sergio. And then, UFC 29 is going to be off the charts. Should be record-setting. Kabhi versus McGregor. Come on now. Everybody's been waiting for this fight. Then I just wanted to get into the Broncos, man. They played very good for 3.5 quarters, and then at the end they just dropped the game, man. When you're up by 10 points at home in the fourth quarter with 8 minutes to go, man, you got to pull that game out. You can't drop that game. That's a game that you needed. That was for the division right there, AFC West rival. You got to drop them, man. You're up like that. You got to win that game. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. So I'm not going to take that interception and blame it on Case Keenum all the way. Jeff Hireman had a chance to snatch it. He's got to do a better job of taking that away from the defender, making sure he doesn't catch it. If he If he doesn't catch it, the defender can't catch it. You know, you got to break that up. You got to kind of play like a defensive back. And then the ground game. Why did they go away from the ground game? The ground game was working. Philip Lindsay and Royce Freeman were having their freaking way with their defense, man. They were pounding the rock. They were doing so well. And then they decided to go away from the ground game, and Vance Joseph is retarded for that. I'm sorry, he is. I'm not calling for his head yet, but dude, you got to step your shit up. You got to do better, man. You got to do better play calling. You got to come out. And Joe Woods, you got to do a better job on defense. That 2nd and 30, come on, man. You cannot play man defense or try to blitz. You have to play zone, cover up. I mean, let them catch the short routes. Don't get anything deep, and come up and make the tackle. I mean, come on. A bunch of missed plays. Like, even after that, we still had a chance to go and win the game after that. Case Keenum overshot Demaryius Thomas. You got to make that throw, bud. You definitely got to make that throw. And then the hook and ladder at the end. That was pretty dumb. I think they should have thrown a jump ball to either Cortland Sutton or Demaryius Thomas for the last play. That play right there was pretty ridiculous. Our offensive line gave up 4 sacks. You guys got to play better. You guys are some hogs. You guys are big. You got to be nasty. You got to play like it was week 1. Like, you guys came out and were mauling. I don't see that right now. You guys got to do better up front too. And Brandon Marshall, boy, oh boy, was he doing pretty good. And then towards the end, he was just getting burned left and right. Travis Kelce was having his way on that last drive with him. I'm sorry, but we need to have Josie Jewell in there and covering. He does a pretty damn good job, if you ask me. I really like Josie Jewell. And Todd Davis doesn't do it in coverage for me either. He's good against the run, don't get me wrong, but we are hurting when it comes to covering running backs and linebackers. We need to go trade, I believe, for a guy that can cover the run and cover the pass. Like, we're hurting at the inside linebacker position. And a lot of missed tackles. Bradley Chubb had a chance to sack him. Von Miller had a chance to sack Patrick Mahomes. There's just a few times we were in there and we let this guy get loose. You gotta make your tackles, man. There's got to be better tackling. Like, you cannot let these guys get away from you. You got to bring them down. It's just horrible to see all these missed tackles. They better fucking get out there and practice and start doing drills on how to tackle, because this is absolutely ridiculous how many missed tackles we've had this season. It makes me fucking pissed. Like, yeah, it makes me pissed. So we have the Jets coming up. This is a must-win game. A must-win game to get back on track, to continue to have a winning record, to go 3-2 in 5 weeks. Case Keenum has to play better. If he doesn't do it this week, I think we need to go ahead and try out Chad Kelly at quarterback. I'm saying it now. You have way more interceptions than you do touchdowns. That is not good. You got to play better. If you don't play better, we got to go with a new option. We can't just sit here and be stagnant and fucking turning the ball over. And hey, if that's the case, why don't you run the ball more? Our run game is working. It seems like the offensive line does a better job when it comes to the run game than they fucking do the passing, like pass blocking. They need to go ahead and work on their footwork and getting out there when it comes to the pass rush. Absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, if you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do that as well. Leave your comments. All right, Sports World.